The claims process starts with the filing of an EE1. And before that, let's start from the very beginning. If you hire an advocate or an attorney to represent you, it starts with an authorized representative form and perhaps a retainer agreement. The authorized representative form allows the advocate or attorney to represent you before the Department of Labor. The retainer agreement describes the fees that can be charged by the attorney or advocate. Those fees are set by statute, 2% of an initial claim and 10% of a claim if it was necessary, if there was a recommended denial. So we can talk a little bit about the process and how the fees are earned. So the first thing that we do when we represent a claimant is we send in the authorized representative form together with an EE1 if it's a worker. So the EE1 is the claim form for a worker. And then we send in an EE3 that describes the claimant's, the worker's work history. And then we get an acknowledgement letter related to that with a description of what else is needed. Typically what we need for a claim is proof of cancer or some other illness, depending on whether we're under Part B or Part E. But anyway, just with respect to Part B claims, we need proof of cancer and proof of employment. Now, we can also obtain proof of employment through the use of an SSA 581. That's a form that is signed by the claimant. Once we've filed those forms, and very often we will, together with those forms, we will file medical evidence of the cancer, and what's necessary to prove the cancer tends to be a pathology report. That's what they prefer. Pathology report with a narrative of the cancer diagnosis and whether the cancers are primary or secondary. Beyond that, it's sometimes impossible to get proof of cancer. And if that's the case, and we can prove that we can't get the medical records, then very often the Department of Labor will rely on a death certificate signed by a doctor. Now, some death certificates don't even have the cause of death, and so we run into some problems there. Sometimes we check with the state cancer registry, and we have some other methods to try and prove cancer. But it can be difficult when there aren't sufficient medical records. Most private medical facilities don't keep their medical records. They destroy them after a certain number of years, whether it be 6 or 10. But what is nice is the VA, to the extent that anyone was at a VA hospital, the VA tends to keep their records pretty indefinitely. We've had some luck getting some VA records.